on this episode of the Cleveland Pulse.
But if you say that, I really love the Browns.
Are you still on the thought process of this is a must win for us this Sunday?
Oh, absolutely.
Cleveland Browns faithful, welcome back on into the Cleveland Pulse YouTube channel. My name is Jeffrey. Robert is seated next to me, and we're here to talk finally the week one matchup between our Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals. Uncle, we got a lot of talking points to get to here. I know you're very adamant about how the season opener is going to go for our Brownies. Let me just give you a little bit of opening here. Tell us your initial thoughts. Tell us how you're feeling. We got a couple of days before Sunday here. We're going to get on and talk some NFL football.
I am so excited to be here. And believe me, I am so excited that we are just days away from the kickoff and we could put that 3-14 debacle behind us. I think the last game we played, if I'm not mistaken, Bailey Zappi started. I think Bailey's still here, to be honest.
Still on the practice squad.
Still on the practice
squad. Small world.
But I am feeling great. I think I told you weeks and months ago, I've drank the Kool-Aid. I'm in hook, line, and sinker on this team. And the more you watch, the more you look at the TV and the more you watch the pundits, a lot of other guys are buying in on this outfit as well. I'm not the only one, but I can tell you I was the first one. I may have been wrong about KP. Kenny Pickett, I was all in on Kenny Pickett when they first got Kenny, but I'm telling you, I'm still all in on the team. So yes, I will be at Huntington Bank Field on Sunday. I will be in attendance for this game. That's how excited I am, nephew.
Let's go. We'll get some live action reporting, it seems like, from you at the game. That's good to know. Yes. This is a news flash to the audience. Before we get any deeper, we got a lot to talk about here. We got the AFC North, rivalry, the context there. We're going to check in with both squads, obviously. We're going to talk some of the big names who we think are going to be the players to watch for Sunday. We're going to talk a little bit of the betting predictions, markets, models, in that way, not financial advice. Then we're going to do our own predictions. So stick around to the end to get and hear those from me and from Uncle. Before we do all that, though, make sure you're hitting the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Comment down below with your game predictions, how you feel this game's going to turn out. Will our Browns start 1-0, or will they disappoint us in another week one opening loss? Let's talk Cincinnati really quick. Hearing a lot of noise from Joe Burrow. He's a confident player. He's confident about week one. Some other tidbits here. 1-5 in a week one record under Zach Taylor for the Cincinnati Bengals. They have a new defensive coordinator in-house, Al Golden. We'll get to see how that unit looks. Let me start with that, actually, because we got clean week one injury reports for the most part. We got uniforms and some different pieces on the defensive end. Let me talk to you here first about this defense, because me and you, how we look at things and we assess situations. Is this defense going to be really truly that bad from Cincinnati, or is it to the point where you think people are saying it's so bad and it's overhyped in such a manner that they're actually going to be a little bit better than expectations?
Well, here's the thing. He showed nothing in preseason. He was very vanilla. He did that on purpose. Now, Al Golden, who was recently at Notre Dame, he was in the NFL before. So I believe the man knows what he's doing. Is this defense going to be better than last year? I would imagine. But is it going to be better week one? I don't think so. Trey Hendrickson came in end of August. I mean, do you expect him to have a big game? Can they? The Bengals have probably been scheming for Joe Flacco all along. Okay, the Bengals have been scheming for the same offense that we have. That we were going to run the same offense, whether it was Joe or Kenny all along. But does that matter? Can the Bengals stop a runny nose? I'm not sure if this. this may be one of those cases where that defense may improve as the year go on. I'm not sure week one it's going to be they're going to be that solid.
Well, I agree with you here, and there's interesting dynamics all over this matchup because just from the defensive coordinator turnover we've seen through the years, it takes a little bit to ramp up and to have people in the right spots and don't have the broken communication. So if you want to face a new defensive coordinator, week one really is the week to do it. Honestly, any of these first couple of weeks, usually before a team's bye, you see a lot of issues with new defensive coordinators. They give up the big plays. They're missing assignments. They don't know, what they're doing in coverage. So it's interesting to see. Obviously, that's going to be a talking point.
And here's the thing. Joe Burrow has to be confident because this is a gift. In September, the Bengals cannot win a football game. Whether it's look back. They're 1-5 in openers under Zach, which means Burrow is 1-5 in openers, right? He's been there 6 years, if I'm not mistaken,
something like that.
Okay, so if the Bengals can't beat Bishop Sycamore in September, so he's got to come out and he's got to be confident because they know they can't lose to the Browns. Just like I've been preaching, banging on my high chair that the Browns need this game. The Bengals can't afford to start every year. The Bengals are digging out from 0-4, 1-5.
Yep.
The Bengals don't want to be doing that this year.
And you make a good point. Both these teams missed the playoffs in 2024. The Bengals ended the year with a lot of momentum, like they traditionally do, starting off slow. The Browns, like you said, to start the top of the upload, 3-14. We're trying to get away from that. But yeah, you have on the flip side of the ball with everything going on, whether it be the quarterback position, for the Browns or a rookie coordinator, a new coordinator over on that side of the football as well with Tommy Rees. I don't know how much he actually is going to affect this game. I think me and you are in agreement that this is back to the Stefanski offense, and they played a clip. I don't even know where this was from. It was some interview with Joel Bitonio. He said, "Hey, I'm coming back because this is a Flacco offense," and Stefanski assured me, "Hey, we're going back to my level of offense." So it's very interesting because to me, out of all the parallels you could draw from this game, it really does feel like whoever has the better defensive performance here has a chance to win this football game. And that's not saying a lot considering how up and down or how skeptical that the Browns offense might be.
But if you say that, I really love the Browns.
I know you do.
Because, our defense, which I believe in this year, is really week one is going to be, because this is Jim Schwartz. This isn't a new defense with Jim Schwartz.
Right.
These guys should be locked and loaded. And I'm telling you what, Huntington Bank Field, if you want to talk about a dynamic, how many tickets are still available?
Can't be many. It's a week one opener.
No, I'm going to disagree.
You think there's a lot of tickets open?
There's a lot of tickets available, nephew, because the city of Cleveland is making a statement as of yesterday, as of Tuesday, and maybe you could dial it up on that special computer over there. The city of Cleveland, the fans, I believe they're making a statement.
Really?
Because listen, Miles better go out there and he better put on a show. And listen, is it 28 or 29 straight games the Browns haven't given up a 300-yard passer? They better keep that streak going.
Yeah, it does look like there's some tickets left. It is interesting, but it's the Browns. You know how this goes. That stadium will be packed regardless. Go ahead.
What are we looking like? It's not sold out.
No. I'm on Ticketmaster right now. You still could get good seats, 62 tickets left in the 109. They're $605 a pop. I wouldn't be spending that on the Browns either, but you still got Section 513s. You got stuff all over the place. I'm looking at light blue and I'm looking at dark blue, basically all over the arena for this Sunday matchup. But okay, that's interesting. I hear you there. It's to the point where, and I know we're going to talk about this later, they got clean injury reports for the most part, believe it or not. There hasn't been, besides the Emerson injury, neither of these teams have really suffered a huge setback in the preseason. The Bengals have a super clean injury report. Mike Hall was the only person on the Browns roster who did not practice in any capability whatsoever today. We had a couple of limiteds. We had a couple of people on rest, Batonio and Denzel Ward and things of that nature, some of the veteran guys. But what are you looking at from a player, a Browns player and a Cincinnati player, as far as the dynamic? Who are you looking at on either side of the football to be the big impact players this Sunday?
Well, obviously, if you're going to start with the Bengals, plain and simple, Jamar Chase, right? You contain Jamar Chase, and I believe, because listen, T. Higgins is a nice player, but I think that as long as Jamar Chase, you contain him, because, okay, I do not see them. Who is it, Zach? Who's the running back now? Chase? Is it Chase Brown?
Yep. And I've been reliably informed through social media and quotes and snippets of this is that they really redesigned their run game around him. So that's, to me, I'm so glad you said this before I let you continue. I'm so glad you said this, because the trap that the Schwartz defense and company cannot get into on Sunday is, I agree with you. If Chase has a pedestrian stat line, 4 catches, 45 yards, 0 touchdowns, I really like our chances. But
yes,
you can't overcompensate for the pass, because this guy is a good running back, and I feel like they know, hey, you look around the AFC. This isn't the West Coast. This isn't the NFC. You can't do this every year where Burrow leads the league in passing touchdowns. He leads the league in QBR. He leads the lead in passing yards, and then they don't make the playoffs. You can't keep doing this, especially in the AFC North. I feel like they come out and try to make a statement here and say, look, we have Jamar Chase. We have T. Higgins. We could beat you with just those guys, but we want to establish the run.
And maybe on the flip side of that comment we made a minute ago, 28 games of under 300 yards passing, maybe because they didn't have to throw for 300 yards.
That's what I'm thinking. They're getting people on the ground and pound, and the Browns defense hasn't been that good. I'm excited to see how the defensive tackles play and up the middle of the field. My thing is, and tell, I'm sure you agree with me, Schlesinger. That's got to be my name to watch over. Myles Garrett is Myles Garrett. He's going to do what he's going to do. Same way with Denzel Ward. This has been the theme in the discussion and talking points all offseason and preseason. Who's going to step up besides those guys to fill the vacuum of no Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, to fill the vacuum of Martin Emerson goes down with a season-ending injury? Sure, you kick Greg Newsome out to the side. If Schlesinger looks competent, stopping the run, dropping back, covering their tight ends well, he's my defensive player to watch. Mason Graham right behind him in the second place slot for me on the defensive side of the ball.
Love to see what Graham does. You hit the nail on the head, because if we could stop the run, oh my God, then the Bengals, then if you force, and I hate to say this, if you force the Bengals to throw, which is not, that's like, that's a silly thing to say.
Right.
But yes, I believe the Bengals they're going to want to come out and run the ball against us, because everybody has. But you make a great point, my nephew, with this Schlesinger comes out, and he really should, if he has a solid game, because the biggest position that we have not spoke about yet in this football game, and I've said this for years that we've talked, championship football teams are built in the trenches.
Yep.
Offensive line and defensive line. Another reason why I love the Brownies this weekend. Our defensive line is leaps and bounds better than their offensive line. That right there in the trenches, there's no way that they could protect Burrow. We should be getting in the backfield. We should stop the run, and we should win the game right there in the trenches.
And just some other notable standout performers against the Bengals. Interestingly enough, a name that I was a relatively interested fan of the signing of Jerome Baker. He's played relatively well against the Bengals in his career. Only 4 games is a sample size, but he has 20 tackles, 10 assists, 2.5 sacks, and 1 pass defense. He's going to have to bolster the middle of that defense, along with an interesting, the juxtaposition of their offense against our offense, and then our offense against their defense, Jerome Ford in December of 24 put up a pretty good performance, 11 rushing attempts, 92 yards, and a touchdown, 4.6 average on the ground. Outside of, the thing is, it's until it's not Flacco, the recurring theme for the offense is just don't turn the ball. I'm not even saying don't turn the ball over before I give you the floor on who you're looking for on the offensive side of the football. It's not turning the ball over. It's going to happen. It's if you're down 14-0 in the second quarter going into halftime and you turn the ball over and the game gets to 17-0 or 21-0, it's avoiding that. It's these big momentum shifts, especially when you're at home, is the stupid turnovers. They simply can't happen. I don't know how long the Joe Flacco leash really is. I don't believe it to be like one bad performance and he's getting hooked. I just don't think Stefanski has operated like that in his career. Maybe Andrew Berry and Haslam have different thoughts and different, priorities, but Gabriel's number 2. Shador's going to be your emergency. I think they wanted to make that abundantly clear. That's why they did trade Pickett at the end of the day, because they wanted to have that hierarchy of rookies, the more I think about it. But outside of the common knowledge of what we know, watching Joe Flacco in the brown and orange, what else are you looking for on that offensive side of the football?
Obviously, I love to see what Harold Fannin does. I would, because when you say ball control football, if we know Flacco and Njoku have great chemistry, if he can get Fannin into that mix, let's see what happens there. Flacco, his first ever game was against the Bengals, and he ran. Did you see that video of him running for a 38-yard touchdown? That's pretty funny. I don't see a short leash on Flacco. So the easy player on offense, you say, is Flacco. It all depends on what Joe does. But what if Fannin comes out and has a good game? What if Jerome Ford comes out? Because everybody is hating on Jerome Ford because of last year. But last year, and I'll beat the dead horse, Ken Dorsey's offense was go out there and get open. And we know that for a fact. There was nothing. So let's see what these guys could do in more of Stefanski's offense, which was 2 years ago, and let's see what he does right there.
And the good part about this is, and the Browns do this traditionally, they do it often, and I'm sure a lot of franchises do it. Talk is cheap. I want to see the action. I will be able to know if the soundbite from Joel Bitonio, some of the stuff we've been hearing in the media room with Stefanski or with Tommy Rees, or some of the reportings about going back to the old Stefanski offense, it's only going to take 4 quarters for me to figure out if that's truth or if that's believable, Uncle. Because look,
tell me how.
I will tell you how. I'll tell you how. At least in my opinion. Maybe you have differing thoughts. If this game is full zeros on Sunday and we have like 65 rushing yards, I'm going to be like, all right, they lied to us, because the old Stefanski guard and yes, you had Nick Chubb, you had a Kareem Hunt that still had a lot in the gas tank, guys that you could go 100 yards each in a game, and it would be like, all right, this was not a normal occurrence, but this was not out of the extraordinary. If I look around at this stat sheet and see Ford 12 carries, 40 yards, Sampson 7 carries, 23 yards, something went wrong. Or Flacco has a 5-6 touchdown game and we win the ball game. It doesn't matter. That's the unlikely reality of the situation. The old Stefanski offense, if we're not beating around the bush, if we're not lying to ourselves, had 2-3 tight ends out there, used the offensive line as the best part of your football team, and you had running backs with good vision and were able to break tackles and move the sticks, where it was like, hey, our quarterback had 1 touchdown and he had 0 interceptions and he threw for like 200 yards and we win the football game.
Right. 15 out of 23. Absolutely. To me, and I couldn't agree more. A huge point that I think that we have to take note of is false starts, delay of games, because that was so rampant last year. there was the lack of focus from week 1 was absolutely, that was criminal, and that cannot happen. I will be amazed. There's no way we see it this year. I will be amazed if it. Now, I tell you what, I won't be amazed is if the Bengals run back a kickoff for a touchdown. That wouldn't surprise me.
Or a punt.
Or a punt. That wouldn't surprise me. But I would, the false starts, the delay of games, that would be absolutely stunning to me.
I agree. And it's like, hey, last year, all right, if you want to carry water for the organization and the front office and the coaching staff, that's an outlier Stefanski year. You have you have a revolving door of offensive linemen, quarterbacks, the offensive coordinator doesn't really know what he's doing. And yeah, it would be tough to get on the same page with all these different factors. That's all gone. All those extenuating circumstances are gone. You have a guy that's been in the system before, that's had success. You have a lot of returning offensive linemen. You don't that's your experience of the team. You should be winning on the offensive line if everybody there is healthy. Batonio, Teller, DeJuan Jones coming along. You have a running back that's been in the system, regardless if it's a Dorsey, Reese, Stefanski system, like Jerome Ford has been here a couple of years. You have a 1A wide receiver in the league in Jerry Jeudy, and you have a guy like David Njoku who we know could get to that second or third tier level of tight ends in the National Football League. So all those excuses are out the window. Oh yeah, I totally agree with you. Like I said, if it's full zeros on Sunday and it's like 9 penalties for 90 yards, that isn't going to cut it. We're not going to win that football game.
No. But, and here's another thing. You have a leader in Joe Flacco starting the game. The guy last year that started the game could not care less. And when they say the fish stinks from the head down, and he was the head of the fish on the offense, and he didn't give a shit. So that's why it was the thing was a mess from the start. Flacco it's not going to be like that with Joe.
I totally agree. You got the experience, you got the veteran leadership. There's, like I said, just don't turn the ball over stupid and you'll be fine. All right, let's do some head-to-head trends and odds. Bengals still seemingly the 5.5 point favorites for this game, which is very startling, especially on the road. So you're telling me this is a 8.5, 9 point game at wherever their stadium is, Cincinnati, Paycor Stadium, whatever the hell it's called. Bengals swept us in 2024. They closed on a 5-game winning streak. If you believe momentum from the previous year rolls over, maybe they could get out of their woes of starting off slow. So a lot of models here, 69 to 70% Bengals win probability. I think that's probably low based on the line. And one source I consulted had a 25 to 19 projected victory for the Bengals. They lead the all-time series against us 55 to 48, but the Browns are 9-6 in the last 15. And you have to think probably 10 of those games were Stefanski. What is this? This is his 6th season. So he's played 10 games against them. So we've been good against them, against Stefanski. Overall top-down view. I know you like the Browns to win. So I know that I know you like this 5.5 points they're getting laid.
Love it. Love it. I've loved it when it came out. I've loved it. This game, when the schedule came out, I loved it. But more and more, here's what surprises me about this line not moving. More and more guys on the national TV have been talking about the Browns. More and more guys that are on podcasts that have millions of likes and subscribers are now talking about the Browns, because a month ago everybody was saying about the Browns. Wait a minute. The Browns and the Saints still have the longest odds to win the Super Bowl. Right. So nobody has a whole lot of faith in them. But they're starting to talk about the Browns right now. Maybe they could put something together to win this game, but that line still isn't moving. It's not budging, which means there's a lot of money still cut. That maybe Vegas has still got a lot of money coming in on the Bengals.
Now, what's the total for this game? That's the interesting question, because that'll show you how much.
It was
46.5. That's what I'm looking at.
46.5, right?
I mean, so look, I feel like people get, you fall into this trap, and I agree. Like, I'm a big believer of this. It's AFC North football, regardless of if a team is 0-16 projected or a team is, a Super Bowl favorites. These games are always close. In September is a little bit different. I actually prefer playing some of the divisional games earlier in the year. I've been hugely against some of these previous seasons and some of these schedule makings that they've given us, where it's like, I feel like we play 6 of our divisional games in the last 7-8 weeks of the year. And it's like, look, if you think the Browns aren't going to be very good and you want ratings and you want this, that, you got to stage some of these games, or whoever. Maybe you think the Bengals aren't going to make playoffs. Maybe you think the Steelers aren't going to be very good. You have to stage some of these divisional games earlier in the season so they mean more.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm very interested this is one of my big questions here to you. Are you still on the thought process of this is a must win for us this Sunday?
Oh, absolutely.
I totally agree with you.
Absolutely, because it changes the tone and tenor of the whole season. And I'm telling you, the door could be open. I'm telling you, it really, because if you give these guys confidence, and if you give that old man, I'm telling you, Flacco's 40, and if you give him confidence, good Lord, he goes out there and starts slinging that ball with some confidence, and they really, who knows what could happen? That nobody thinks that they are going to do anything. And if they, I'm telling you, once again, I could probably fall flat on my face like Kenny Pickett, but what I see in this team is different. Last year, I was not drinking the Kool-Aid. I couldn't stand what they were showing us. The preseason was awful. This year, it's nephew. If they win week 1, listen, you know what? They were serious. Stefanski was serious when I saw that cut down and they cut Hopkins. I said to myself, Stefanski's got to be running it. Honest to God, because I thought for sure Hopkins was going to make the team. I really thought they were going to try Hopkins out there. He was going to blow the first game, the second game, and then they were going to say, oh, he's got a sore hamstring. We're going to put him on the IR. I believe Stefanski is, for the love of Jesus, you have to do that. You have to put that kid out there, let him kick from week 1, and I love that.
I want to do a little bit of tidbit of news before, that's not totally Sunday related, but before we get to our predictions here, I want us to just comment briefly, because we talk about this with the Browns all the time. It's like, hey, can you not mess things up? Can you make the right decisions? And it's just like, hey, every year it seems to fall on deaf ears, but this is from Mary Kay, allegedly. Browns rookie Quinshon Judkins could be back with the team as soon as this week. It's not looking good for this week. We know he's probably, a 2 to 4 game suspension. Commissioner has to say something, whatever. They did NFL does their own investigation. I would be so much more optimistic about this matchup if this guy was suited up and playing for us week 1. I think he's that much of a difference maker. I know that, it's kind of too little too late at this point. I don't expect him to have any really big impacts until, I don't know, after our bye. If he's suspended 4 weeks and our bye is, I don't even know, week 9, week 8 or something like that. How do you feel about this situation? Do the Browns need to expedite this process? Do you have any idea what's going on here and just into the future with this guy?
I am getting more and more disillusioned with this entire situation. And I'm getting to the point of, I want to talk about the guys in the clubhouse. True. Because of the fact that I hope that this is one of these situations. And from what I've heard, this is what's going on. It's the agent that's mucking things up, because why would he not have his ass he dodged a bullet. Why would this man not sign on the dotted line?
Yep.
take his lickings, take his, and get this over with and play football. It's got to be, in my opinion, advice that's bad.
Advice.
Somebody's holding out for more money. Somebody's holding out,
fully guaranteed.
Isaiah Bond got fully guaranteed, blah, 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 blah. Judkins right now Judkins fumbled the ball by not signing in the first place. If Judkins would have been signed before all these allegations came out, it may have been a different story. So here's my point. The season starts Sunday. If he's not signed Sunday morning before kickoff, I don't want to hear about him until he should not be a distraction to this outfit.
Yep.
Honestly, that's how I feel.
Like you try every year with this team, like, hey, could you, like, the adults in the room, can you not have any distractions, like you said? And they just can't seem to figure it out. To me, and it's so funny you say that, because like this seems like Sunday morning before the game, something comes out that this contract gets done. I don't know. I just have a feeling about that. But it's like, hey, it's not like this is a 6th, 7th round guy. Like, 2 games, and for sure, does our outlook, portray to be really good this year? It doesn't. Is our win total, over under really low? Sure, it is. But it's like, hey, a 2 to 4 game suspension, however you feel about the off the field issues, it's not like that is like 10 games. Like, you could be back and we could be 2-0 and getting him into the fold. And maybe Ford's having a bad year. Maybe Sampson is okay, but he's not the number 1 guy. Like, this is could be a difference maker guy. And it's like, wow, it's like, doesn't matter really how good you draft, because if they're not on the field, they're not on the field. All right, Uncle, let's go to predictions here. I want to show this really quickly. I love stuff like this. Usually it's just nobody gives the Browns the time of day, but this is from the NFL YouTube video preview, where every single individual that they asked for game preview picks, except for G. Jordan, has taken the Cincinnati Bengals. I know that you think we're going to win. How do you feel about this? What is your final score predictions for this week 1 tilt?
Okay. Looking at this, I love that, because
me too.
As a man who may or may not have wagered before in my life, if I'm sitting there on Monday night or Sunday night and I have no action on a game, okay, and I see the analysts, they all pick, if everybody picks one team
going the other way,
I'll throw a little piece of money on the other team just because, and chances are you're gonna win, okay? I see this one. You're not gonna shut Burrow. You're gonna contain Burrow. I see this being a 27-24 game. There's gonna be points scored, 24-21. You're gonna get. It's gonna be, the number's 46.5. Okay.
Yep.
Vegas is close. It's going to be 24-21 or it's going to be right around that number. You know how I feel. Browns with the dub.
Well, it's our first disagreement of the young NFL season, because I'm going to go. Now, here's the thing. I've been sleeping, having nightmares, and I don't know what it is. Even with Hopkins gone, I can't. They're going to do something stupid on the margins. I actually think it'll be a relatively clean game. You're going to have some penalties. I'm expecting a Flacco turnover. I'm expecting our defense to generate one as well, if not multiple. Fumble, strip sack, interception, whatever it may be. But unfortunately, I have to go Bengals 24, Browns 23, and we either miss a field goal or miss an extra point.
In normal Cleveland fashion.
In normal Cleveland fashion. And it's like, I'm projecting this prediction way out, like, because I think this team's going to win some games this year. I think they might have like 6 or 7 wins and beat the win total. I'm there as far as a predictive standpoint for the year, but this is one of those games that is AFC, that's divisional, that's week 1, where we will be 2-4. Or we'll be kicking
ourselves.
Yes,
we'll be
3-3, and we'll be like, yeah, we should have been 3-3, or we should have been 4-3. That's just where I'm at with this game. It's one of those contests where I'm like, kicking yourself, that you couldn't get the job done when you probably should have, especially at home. No expectations, 5.5-point dogs, 40-year-old a quarterback. Some of your defensive players hurt. I just don't see. I don't see us winning. It just doesn't seem like it's going to happen.
Well, and I hope we come back on here Monday, and I'm happy as a lark because I have the good feeling. I'm telling you, I have a really good feeling about this year, and I just think that there's something. I've from the jump. From the jump, I really liked it. I'm sad about my boy in Vegas, but what can you do?
Well, I'm just glad NFL football is back. We got kickoffs tomorrow. We got a Friday game, even, isn't there?
Friday game.
Goodell's
Friday
a genius.
Hey, you want another just on a Hail Mary?
Throw it out there.
How about the Giants outright beating the Commanders? The Giants
sounds
outright beating the just a little pizza money. And once again, this is not financial advice. This is only for entertainment purposes.
That's right.
I think everybody is crapping on the Giants this year. And when I look on that, Brian Dable has so much talent on that team. And Russell Wilson, as bad as he is at his age, is still leaps and bounds better than what they had last year.
I agree.
I mean, and as much as I love the Commodores last year, I think you're going to see a little bit of commodes this year.
I expect regression from them too. I totally agree with you.
Daniels
can only play this much better. So
yes,
you're bound to go backwards.
And Dan Quinn, listen, Dan Quinn. This isn't his first go around as a head coach. Last year, the ball rolled his way. Let's see if it does it again.
All right. Anything else before we sign off here? Browns, Bengals. You say they're going to win. I say they're going to lose. Final thoughts here before we wrap.
That's it. Go Browns. That's it.
Fair enough. Well, if you made it this far in the upload, like button, comment down below, score prediction. Do you think that Uncle's right? You think that the Browns are going to pull it out? Do you think that I'm right? Are you pessimist, doom and gloom to start the year? Still too many question marks and issues with this Cleveland Browns franchise. We'll be back. We'll be back covering and recapping this game at our earliest availability, either Sunday or Monday. So stay on the lookout here. Make sure the bell notification is turned on. And thank you guys. We appreciate you being the pulse of it all. Peace.